And if you can see correctly, I ended up only having 3 winners and 4 losers, but I still ended up doing over 5.5% for the entire week. Hey, what's up guys, it's Dimitri. Today I'm going to break down every single trade I took in an entire week. I'm going to explain why I entered, where my stop was, how I manage these trades, and what I've learned from every single one of these positions. And I'm really going to show every single trade I took during that week, which is 2 weeks ago if you're watching this video when it drops. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so starting with PLTR on Monday, which was the first breakout attempt. As you can see on the left, it was a very tight and small range, supported by the 50 SMA, but it did try to break out, so I entered the position. My entry was at 96.12 when it took the first 5-minute candle high. Stop loss obviously always at the low of the day, and in this position I only risked 0.25% of my account, obviously because market conditions were pretty bad and setup was good, but it wasn't perfect. Unfortunately, as you can see, it reversed pretty quickly and we got stopped out on the first day. Breakouts are great setups, but obviously they don't always work out, so that's why risk management is always a priority. 2 days later, which was Wednesday of that same week, PLTR set up again. This time it had much stronger volume and it did gap over the updated trend line. So obviously I re-entered when it took the first 5-minute candle high, stop loss again at the low of the day, and once again I did only risk 0.25% of my account, even though the setup was great. This time it worked much better. On day 2, which was Thursday, I trimmed 25% of my position to lock in some profits at approximately 7% gain. Then on Friday, right before market close, I trimmed another 25% of my position for about 12% profit. And right after that, I moved my stop loss to break even, so the rest of the position is now risk free. And by the time I'm filming this, I still have 50% of my initial position, hovering around 18% profit. A good lesson here is that sometimes, even if the first attempt doesn't work out, you can always try again if it provides another setup. Next up is MSTR, which is a similar story. On Monday, I took the initial breakout attempt, which was breaking out of a much bigger range. I entered when it took the first 5-minute candle high, stop loss again at the low of the day, and this time I risked 0.5% of my account because the setup was much better than the PLTR one. But once again, it didn't hold on the first day and I ended up being stopped out. Tuesday, it re-broke out, but this time with much stronger volume behind the move. I re-entered using the 5-minute chart, stop loss again at the low of the day, and I risked once again 0.5% of my account because the setup was actually really good. Since market conditions weren't great and my risk was actually bigger in this position, I did trim 50% of my position at around 4% profit on the first day. Normally I like to let trades breathe longer, but with how choppy the market was, I decided to secure some profits earlier. Then later in the week, I decided to trim another 25% of my position while moving my stop loss to break even. Friday's trim was at around 11% profit, and the final 25% that I'm still holding is now at around 16%. MSTR earnings are tomorrow after market close at the time I'm filming this, so I'll sell the rest of my position tomorrow before they announce earnings. I also took a trade on CELH on Tuesday. Setup was breaking above the higher trend line, so once again using the 5-minute chart, I waited until it confirmed above the trend line. Then I entered the position, stop loss again at the low of the day. It started out great, but unfortunately it did stop me out on day 3, but I did only risk 0.25% of my account, so I wasn't really worried about that. Same here on WOOF, you can see that it did break out above its higher trend line, but it reversed pretty quickly. Once again, I did only risk 0.25% of my account, so even though it reversed and stopped me out on the first day, it actually was alright, and it's very normal for lower cap stocks to reverse as quick as that. Last trade of the week was DUOL on Wednesday. Obviously it did gap really high above its range. On the right you can see my entry, once again using the 5-minute chart. Entered when it took the first 5-minute candle high, stop loss at the low of the day, and I only risked 0.25% of my account on this position. This one I held it, no trims. My plan was to hold it until earnings, and they are tomorrow, but at the time I'm filming this video I got stopped out yesterday because I moved my stop loss at break even, and it did have some sort of news coming out yesterday, so it did reverse pretty quickly. Obviously since my stop was at break even, I did not lose anything on this trade. Overall, this week was a good example of why risk management matters so much. A few small losses early, but staying disciplined and managing correctly allowed the winners to carry the week. Trading isn't about being right every time, it's about following a process and letting probabilities work for you. And if you can see correctly, I ended up only having 3 winners and 4 losers, but I still ended up doing over 5.5% for the entire week. If you enjoyed this type of full recap where I show you everything transparently, hit the like button and comment recap down below so I know I can keep making more of these. I did alert the MSTR trade in my free Discord, so if you want real-time access to trade like these and a community focused on actually getting better, you can join now. The link will be in the description. And if you're serious about taking your trading to the next level, the full mentorship program is also open. And for instance, I share all of my personal trades in this group. And yes, it means that all of our members made some pretty good gains this week. So as always, guys, lock in, stay disciplined, and I'll see you in the next one.